I'm pretty confident now that these dead scientists have something to do with this war and the administration doesn't want us to know. There seems to be something very specific going on here, so let's dive in. Since July of last year, 11 high-level American scientists have either been killed or disappeared. The White House is currently conducting a probe, but there's no way they didn't know about these connections. Let's start with who the people are, and this is going to take a minute, so stay with me. Monica Jacinto Reza is an aerospace engineer for JPL, and she went missing in June of 2025. She was hiking near Mount Waterman, and a companion made eye contact with her, and moments later, she was gone without a trace, no sound, anything. Major General William McCaslin is a former commander for the Air Force Research Lab. He went missing in February of this year. He disappeared from his Albuquerque home, left behind his phone, glasses, and personal tech. Nuna Lorio was the MIT Plasma Science and Fusion Center director and was shot at his home in Brookline, Massachusetts. The suspect was linked to a separate shooting at Brown University. Carl Grillmeyer is an astrophysicist from Caltech, and he was gunned down in front of his porch in Llano, California, by a man previously arrested for armed trespassing on his property. Frank Mywald was the principal researcher at JPL. He died in July of 2024. So this one actually goes a little bit further back, as does one other, but specialized in instruments to detect life on icy moons, and the cause of death was never released. And then the other early one was Michael David Hicks, also a research scientist at JPL. He died in July of 2023, and he was an expert in asteroid properties and planetary defense. Also, cause of death not disclosed. Stephen Garcia was the property custodian for the Kansas City National Security Campus. Went missing in August of 2025, left his Albuquerque home with a handgun, but abandoned his vehicle and his family disputes claims of any mental instability. Anthony Chavez is a retired engineer for the Los Alamos National Laboratory. He went missing in May of 2025. And he was a 78-year-old who left behind his wallet, keys, and car at home, and his house remained locked from the inside. Melissa Casillas, an administrative assistant at Los Alamos National Laboratory, went missing in June of 2025, was last seen walking alone on a highway with a backpack. She held security clearance, but not high-level scientific access, likely somebody's assistant, obviously. Jason Thomas was a director and researcher at Novartis, died in December of 2025, went missing in Wakefield, Massachusetts, and his body was recovered from a lake in March of 2026. Police say there is no foul play. And finally, there's an unnamed scientist also tied to New Mexico, but they haven't released any information on it. Okay, now in this group are some pretty clear patterns. The first connection is for UAP metal, unidentified anomalous phenomena. Monica Reza held patents for specialized metastable alloys used in advanced rocket propulsion. And Major General McCaslin was known as a keeper of secrets regarding recovered exotic materials. The next connection has to do with energy, specifically fusion and plasma. This is for the deaths of Nuna Lorio, Melissa Casillas, and Anthony Chavez. All of these scientists worked on things related to next-generation nuclear weapons and for plasma detection, and we'll get to that in a minute. And the third connection is regarding the detection of asteroids and biosignatures in space. That's Frank Mywald and Michael David Hicks. And I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. Doing my best here. These are experts who are developing early warning systems for outside threats, including UAPs or missiles coming from space. There's also a connection in geography, either Southern California, where JPL is, or New Mexico, and in the nature of how people disappeared. How Monica Reza just disappeared without any noise or anything. How Anthony Chavez just left his wallet, keys, and cigarettes on the table and just walked out. Or how Major McCaslin left all of his wearable tech behind, which is very unusual for an intelligence officer. Now, that's everything that we can observe. Those are the facts. The rest is speculation, but there does seem to be something going on here. If you were planning on conducting a sustained high-tech war, the first thing that you would do is to take out the personnel needed to conduct that war. For instance, if a hypersonic missile enters our atmosphere, it creates something called a plasma sheath that blocks traditional radar. And some of these scientists were studying ways to be able to see through that. Monica Reza knew how to stabilize the exotic materials needed for next generation interceptors. Some of these scientists were also studying a program to decentralize and make unhackable our nuclear grid. And then there's this strange connection with the Strait of Hormuz. There are similar civilian cargo ships that are floating in the Strait of Hormuz, and also we're seen floating near the Rio Grande and New Mexico-Texas border. They similarly shut off their lights for an extended period of time, like 15 to 20 hours. And then the dates of the ships spotted near the Rio Grande correspond with the disappearance of Stephen Garcia and Major General McCaslin. I don't think it's crazy to think that someone is preparing for a large-scale, sustained high-tech war with the United States. But who knows? What do you think? All of my sources, by the way, are on my Substack, and the link is in my bio. Thanks.